Welcome, Mr. Ariana. So Think and Grow Rich, Think and Grow Rich, a powerful book. And, this book, ladies and gentlemen, it really, truly made a big difference in my life. 2006 was the first time I think it was 2006, it was sent to me in a box. And, it was one of the books that was in a box of recordings on teaching me how to do real estate. So I was trying to focus on doing real estate and making money from real estate. But in the box was this book, Think and Grow Rich book. And, the name just caught my attention right away. I said, wow, I've never heard of it. And then I started reading. And then I started to discover things in the book that we need to know, but our school system doesn't include it. Our education system that we grew up in does not include the information that's in there. And when we get that information and we have it early enough, I think it makes a huge difference in our adult lives. There's a gentleman that got this book at 17. His name is Mr. Shane Moran. He was a co-founder of this company called Organa Gold that went on to do $3 billion in revenues. There's another gentleman that actually discovered this book in the very early stage when it was just published, Clement W. Stone. And that gentleman had $100 to his name at the time when he found this book. And he went about reading this book, studying it, and he went on to build the first $1 billion insurance company. So we're going to train our members on the principles in this book. This is our first dive into it. 6 months from now, we're going to dive into it again. And every 6 months, we're going to dive into it. Because I've seen organizations, and Organa Gold became a $3 billion company, and they had partnered up with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and they made the circulation and the use of the principles in this book a major part of why we succeeded as an organization. So I'm not trying to do something new in that sense of the word. I'm simply repeating what it is that others who came before me have already done, and you're invited to join us in the conversation, right? So I'm very excited about it. And, the interesting thing is that a lot of people show up for the stuff that is more, fun, exciting, the opportunity presentations. We will have on opportunity presentations, 40, 50 people. But when it comes to personal development, the number shrinks because individuals are looking for that shortcut. They're looking for the things that can earn them money in their hands immediately, not information that ultimately will allow for a certain money. So let's talk about chapter 1. And, I read this chapter, this is my 4th time reading the book. I'd read it 3.5 times. So this is I'm not going to do the half. I'm just going to do a complete read with everybody. And we're going to read one chapter together over the next 5 weeks, 15 chapters, 5, 5, 5. And then we'll go over them together. All right. Step by step, brick by brick. All right. So wonderful stuff. So let's start with, who has read. Just put a 1 in the chat if you read chapter 1. Put a number 1 in the chat if you read chapter 1. And I want us to come off mute and let's just really dive into the chapter. And, hopefully you have your pen ready, to take your notes. It's really important to come away. So Raul read chapter 1. Anyone else read chapter 1? Go ahead and put a number 1 in the chat if you read chapter 1. If you did, go ahead and read chapter 1. All right, so Raul read it. Okay, Ariana, Annette, Annette James and Annette. All right. So let's start with unmuting. What did you get from the chapter? Just unmute and tell me, what did you get from chapter 1? Let's start with you, Raul. What did you get from chapter 1? Just tell me, what are some of the things that came to you after you read chapter 1 from Think and Grow Rich?
Great, thanks very much for the invite, Doc. In terms of definitely the starting point of anything, and even now where I'm building in the Caribbean, it was good to identify the foundation of any great accomplishment and what that foundation ought to be, what that foundation is, right? And that is what spoke to me coming out of the chapter. I'm definitely grateful. So when you sent out the invite this one, I'm like, and I did not even, I was reading this book prior to you sending it to me. I have the classic version. I also listened to it on YouTube, the audio version. and I found it really, really. So when he sent it out, I'm like, wow, alignment. So I'm really grateful. I'm looking forward to a powerful discussion today.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for that, man. Thank you very much for that. All right, so so go ahead and tell me, what did you get from chapter 1? What jumped out at you, or what points do you want to identify about chapter 1? Now, welcome, Cindy. All right, welcome. Well, Annette says she didn't get to read it. That's fine. I understand. We're still going to benefit from the discussion, and afterwards, hopefully, you'll be inspired to go and really read it. And go ahead from your all. What jumped out at you? And Cindy, did you get to read chapter 1? Did you read chapter 1? You could put 1 in the chat, or you could put yes in the chat if you can't unmute. If you can unmute, because you're muted if you're trying to speak. All right.
I listened to it.
You listen to it. All right, that counts in today's day and age as reading it, right? There's audiobook and there's visual. So both works. So you listen to chapter 1. All right, great. And what did you get from it? What did you get? What are some of the things that jumped out at you after you digested chapter 1?
It's like, for example, basically it's just saying don't quit. No matter what happened, just don't quit and stay determined, you know?
Don't quit, stay determined. That's what jumps out of the chapter for you. All right. Thank you for that. All right, Raul, what jumped out for you?
One would be the power of thought, right? Barnes, who thought himself into partnership with Edison, the power of thought, and also the importance of seeking wise counsel. So when they completed their transaction in mining, they sold the equipment, and the junk man who they sold it to, he sought wise counsel and found out that, okay, where they stopped, he will be able to restart just 3 feet later, and he was able to earn millions from that mine. So the power of thought, and also seeking wise counsel, so in terms of business, that we seek wise counsel in the area of business that we actually conducting, from those who walk the road or walk that path before. Those 2 things were significant to me.
All right, wise counsel and also the power of thought. And thank you very much for that. So those are what jumped out at you. One of the things that jumped out at me, one of the very first things that jumped out at me is we have to know what we want. Knowing what we want, right? Annette, is that Annette James and Annette from Trinidad and Tobago? I know we have 2 Annettes in the team. Either of you, could you unmute? If you didn't read the chapter, I understand. If you've read it before, I know Annette James says she has the book. She had read it before.
I doesn't have the book, Dr. Harry. Good morning.
Okay, it's in. I sent it. Making a decision, Cindy. That's great. Let me write that down as well. Making a decision. I sent the book in the chat, the PDF version. If you don't have PDF, just download Acrobat Reader from your Play Store. So download Acrobat Reader from your Play Store, and then in the group chat, I posted the book. But I'll send it to you if you send me your number, all right? Or send me. Do you have my WhatsApp on it? Do you have if you just look in the group chat, you're in the group chat, right? You're in our WhatsApp group chat.
Yes.
Right. So just send me a message or look in the chat. You'll see the book. I posted the book there, but I'll send you the PDF copy so that you could have the PDF copy to start going through it. Okay. And the other Annette, thank you very much. The other Annette, did you get a chance to go through it? Or do you remember what you got from chapter 1? So Cindy also put making a decision. So the things that jumped out to me was, 1, you need to know what you want. So a lot of people do not have a clear definiteness of purpose. So they do not have a very clear distinct idea of what it is that they want. And as a result, a lot of people kind of just float through life not having a clear picture of what it is that they want. And that is one of the biggest challenges. And not knowing what you want is like a ship on the ocean without the sail set in a particular direction. So wherever the wind blows, it blows it to the left, it blows it to the right, it lands the ship on some rocks, the ship breaks apart, right? What happens is that when people do not know what they want, that becomes the issue. So one of the things that jumped out to me in the book is the fact that we need to know what we want in chapter 1. Welcome, Scholar. Scholar, did you read chapter 1 in Think and Grow Rich? Did you get to go through it?
Where I am, I don't have a book, and my internet is horrible, and I didn't even get to download. I don't have the book. I don't know. I didn't read there. No, I don't have a book.
All right, that's fine. So so Scholar and Annette, I'll make sure that you guys have the copy, the PDF download, the Adobe Acrobat, because it's really important to get into it. All right, it's really important to go through chapter 1, because Monday we're going into chapter 2. So want to have you guys get caught up on that. But we're going over what individuals have so far identified. Rawls saw, Cindy rather, saw don't quit, right? As one of the clear messages in chapter 1. Stay determined, which means that we should not veer off course. And then the power of thought. Rawls saw that the idea of thought was clearly recognized there, and the importance of counsel, wise counsel, having people because the guy sabotaged himself, the 3 feet of gold, will touch on that. And then, making a decision. And I was talking about what I gathered, which is knowing what you want. So a lot of people are like ships without a sail set. When you have a ship on the ocean and the sail is not set, or the rudder, the rudder, the thing they use at the back to guide which direction they want the boat to go in. If the sail is not set and there's no rudder, which guides the vessel, what will eventually happen to a boat if it's on the ocean and the sail is not set? So it will spin and blow in any particular direction, and the rudder is not set to take it in a particular direction. What will eventually happen to that ship? Somebody unmute and tell me, what will eventually happen to that ship? If the ship doesn't, go ahead.
It'll be shipwrecked, Doc. It'll be shipwrecked.
It'll be shipwrecked. It'll be shipwrecked. So the ship is gonna get shipwrecked. So that's why a lot of people's lives are what we call mediocre, or it's not where you want it to be, because we have to be very, 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 very clear about what we want. For example, in my mind, in Xtreamfx Global Academy, I made the decision at the beginning that I want to build the community as a whole, and not just focus on it. And I'll tell you this, I could say it now. They're gonna, they created a leadership council with I think it's 6 people from the field, 6 leaders out of the whole community of members, and 6 of us were invited to become a part of the leadership council to give advice to the founders of Xtreamfx Global Academy, and I'm one of them. So I made that decision at the beginning, and I've stayed committed through the process of not giving up, not backing down. And giving up doesn't mean you do not pay your subscription. As an example, I'm using that as a good parallel, because it doesn't mean if you pay a subscription every month, it doesn't mean you haven't given up. It is the actions that we're taking towards a goal that determines if you're really committed to it or not. So when we talk about being clear on what you want, I also know that by becoming a top leader in the community, my family will be really well taken care of as a result of becoming a top member in the community. I'm helping to build a large and successful community around the world. That will allow for my family to be really well taken care of. If my family is well taken care of, if many other families are well taken care of, then I do not even have to think about myself, because I'm focused on helping other people to be successful. And if I help a large number of people to be successful, then I'm going to automatically be successful as a result of that. So my focus and attention is on how many other people I can help to be successful. And the more people that I help to be successful, the more successful I become. That's the principle that I use. So in understanding what do I want to help a lot of people to be successful. I want to help a large number of people. In fact, I want to help millions of people around the world to be successful. And that's my definiteness of purpose. So because I'm very clear on what it is that I want, then the things that are needed for me to be able to accomplish what I want start to come into play. Now here I'm a part of the top tier of a global organization that's just at the very early stages of building itself around the world. And we have an opportunity to build something together and become a multi-billion-dollar company, and being there at the beginning. So here's the deal. What do you want? Whether, being able to accomplish that big goal will allow for me to do a lot of other little things inside, like a nice home, nice cars, and that, helping a lot of people, taking care of my personal family really well. All of those things can be taken care of in a very big goal. But what happens is that if we're not thinking big and we don't have really big goals, what ends up happening is that we will shrink the size of our dreams and our goals to what we believe we can accomplish, the income that we believe we can have. So what do you want, right? That was one of the clear statements that came out in the book, where what it is that you want. And I think it was literally at the very early, it was almost at the very beginning of the chapter, right? What it is that you want, and mixing it with what you want, mixing what you want with consistency, persistence, and commitment, right? Consistency, persistence, and commitment, blending it with what you want, right? So what you want, now unmute and share with me. Do you know what it is that you want? Are you clear on what it is that you want, right? If you could unmute and tell me what it is that you want, right? Annette, Cindy, Scola, Collins, I don't know if you read chapter 1 or not of the book, but what it is that you want. Could you unmute and share what it is that you want? Let's start with you, Cindy.
Financial freedom.
What does that mean, or what does that look like?
Being able to, afford things and, live the life you really want to live without being hesitant or considering if you can afford it or not. Affordability wouldn't be of a factor in that case,
Okay, I got you. So you want to get to the place where you can afford the things that you want, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, great. And those things, it's very important to be clear on what those things are. So is it going to be, a vacation in Bali? Is it going to be enough money to be able to afford the home and the cars and a home in Kingston, or you want to have a BMW black with leather seats, green? You need to be very clear
Specific.
what it is that you want. And that has to have numbers, that has to have dates, that has to have descriptions about it. And it can't just be just financial freedom. Because financial freedom, some people feel financially free with $500 a month. So you have to
understand.
Yeah, so you have to be very clear on what it is that you want and define it, so that our creator, which is how all of this is going to come to pass, right, through grace, is clear on what we want, so that the creator knows what to do to be able to bring about what it is that we want for ourselves. All right, so very, very clear.
Got you.
All right, so anyone else, what do you want? Annette, Scola, Collins, what it is that you want? What is it that you want to have happen for you? Let's start with Annette. What is it that you want? Okay, it's all right if you're not clear. That means that we have to go down into some goal setting. We have to go down into trying to figure that out. I see Raul, you had a connection issue. Cindy gave us a really great description. Scola, go ahead, and then we'll take Raul next.
Yeah, you asked a question. I'm at work, and while you were asking, I had to jump in and hear what my client was saying. But I guess the question is, what do I want? Now,
Yeah, what do you want?
what I want is this life of not able to control my time is what I want to, you know, I want to be able to control my time. I want to be able to control anything that I want to do, so that I'm able to achieve my goals. Because sometimes when somebody controls your time, you are tied to them. And if I want to go and do extra thing for the time, for the day that, for the time that I have during the day, I cannot, because somebody is behind me. That's one thing I want. The second thing I want to be able to achieve finances, so that I'm financially free to be able to do what I want to do with whoever I want to do with. And the third thing, I don't want to keep working until I am not even able to travel. So I want to be able to have to be financially free, and that way I'm able to do whatever I want, and I'm able to go to wherever I want to go, and I'm able to retire with things, with the kind of life that I want to retire into. Because I don't want to go to retire and go, start being a liability to other people. That's what I want for right now.
Excellent, excellent. So that's clear. So that's clear. Those are tangibles that we can now work towards achieving, and helping you to achieve those tangibles by being clear on what it is that you want. So very, very, very grateful for you sharing that. Raul or Annette, could you jump in? And Collins, if you can, next. So Raul, Annette, then Collins, in that order. Raul, you want to share what it is that you want? Because that was very clear to me in chapter 1, to identify what it is that we want.
Doc, and to everyone, I would like to be free in every aspect of life, and also to lead others to be free, so that we do not live at the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. That is what I want.
Okay, I got you. So you want to be free from others controlling you. Is that what I'm getting? And helping other people to do the same?
Well, and not just from, you could probably sum it up like that, but in every aspect. So financially, spiritually, because some persons are financially free, but they are not, but they are in prison health-wise. They may be in prison in other aspects of life. So I want to be free holistically, and also lead others to be free holistically as well.
I got you. I got you. So you're talking ultimately about spiritual freedom in all its dimensions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I love it. All right. You want to jump in, Annette, and then Collins? What do you want? Because that is really important. What it is that you want. If you do not know what you want, our creator cannot help you to bring it to pass. All right, we're not hearing from Annette or Collins, it seems. So, all right, so you guys have to flesh that out, and then go back and read chapter 1 if you haven't read chapter 1, and really start to look at this from the standpoint of really being very practical about this. It's not a hype thing. Now, once we've identified what we want, then we need to now be committed to that. So, for example, if you're committed to achieving this goal of helping millions of people, right? It means that you have to be actively engaged in talking to people about a vision, about a mission. You have to be communicating what it is that you're doing to achieve what it is that you said you want. And by helping other people to get what they want, you'll have what you want. Because it's really a function of helping other people to realize what they want. And when we help enough people to get what they want, then you and I will be able to achieve what we want. And one of the things that I had known, and I've spoken about it already, that this particular conversation we're having with this, particularly about the principles in this book, this is something that I needed to have been doing and leading the group with consistently, not sometimes start here, start there, because I've started and, for various excuses that I used in my own mind, had stopped the process. But I've realized that error and, I've made an adjustment for some time now, and we're taking it to another level. So when I read this book the first time, it was me alone. Now I'm reading this book along with other people. So the power of what's in here is not just going to affect my life, it's going to affect other people's lives. So when you think about it, if you then make the effort to say, start to identify people that can come into this conversation with us, just imagine you and a number of other people moving with a sense of clarity, a sense of conviction in their hearts, that what I want, if I'm going to achieve it, I have to be persistent, and I have to be consistent, and I have to be like the story with the 3 feet from goal. Now let's look at the story of the young lady, the little girl that was standing in front of the, she was a colored girl, or what the world would call a black young lady, a little child, and then the white man was the farmer, and he was a white man. And at the time, they weren't slaves in that time. They were working, but they were working for very small income, and they were called serfs, S-E-R-F-S, serfs, which is a way of paying somebody for labor that is way below what they should be paid for the labor that they're putting. So it's a form of slavery, but they still get some money and they have somewhere to live on the farm, right? But they still get some stipend for being there. Now, with that happening, what did you get from that story, Rob? Where the girl was standing there, the man was, if you want to share the story for those who may not have read the book yet, what do you want to share the story about the young lady? Just recount the story quickly for me. Either you or Mistress Cindy. Cindy, if you remember that story, or you really Cindy, you want to go ahead and just recount the story? I'd like to hear a female voice. Cindy, are you there?
I'm here, Dr. Benjamin, but I'm getting ready. Give me a second. Or maybe Rod, help me out on this one while I grab my stuff.
All right, TMI. Well, go ahead, Rod. You want to jump in there, Rod, and recount the story for us? What it is that the story with the little girl and the farmer. Are you there, Rod? Is your connection affected? Because you're muted.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
All right, excellent. So the story, as Dr. Benjamin mentioned, was about this young colored girl or black girl whose mother sent her to the master, the plantation master, to receive 50 cents, to get 50 cents. All right, those from the Caribbean region would know what 50 cents what it is. It's like half of $1, right? So 50 cents. And she entered the barn where the master's working, right? And when she said, Master, my mother would like to have 50 cents. And he responded, said, I will not give it to her. Now go back home. And she said, yes, sir, but she did not move. She stood right there. He continued doing his work, and then a few moments later, he turned around, he saw the child there again. And the child then said, Master, I said my mother would like to have 50 cents. And he said, I told you I'll not give it to her, now go away. And she did not move. She stood right there. The master, realizing that the little girl was defiant, and at those times being a plantation worker, obviously not supposed to defy the master and that sort of stuff, he took up a stave, he took a piece of wood now to go and hit her. And while walking towards her now, furiously with rage and going to hit her, when he got closer to her now, she walked closer to him. She took a couple steps towards him and said, I said my mother have to get 50 cents. And he put down the wood and took out the 50 cents and gave the little girl. And then he was in shock. He stood in shock that he was just conquered by a little child. A lesson in persistence.
A lesson in persistence. So what is it that came to the girl's aid? Because, you know, Napoleon Hill in that chapter spoke about something that came and worked on behalf of the young lady in light of her willingness to not back down from the goal that she had set, that her and her mom had set. She came to the barn knowing that the gentleman is the master, knowing that she could get a flogging, knowing that they could be thrown out. And she stood there and insisted that she wanted to get the 50 cents. And when he was about to push her back and beat her down, much bigger than her, she took a step forward. So what it is that was operating because of her willingness to not give up? What was operating? Anybody wants to unmute and tell me? Go ahead, Annette. Yeah, you're unmuted, or anybody else. What was operating? What was going on? Somebody unmute and tell me. Cindy.
Hello. Hi.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Annette.
I think it was her determination and persistence that made her get it. She was determined that she wasn't going to leave the area until she got it.
She wasn't going to leave the area until she got it. All right, so that's one factor. And Napoleon Hill, thank you very much, Annette, for jumping in. All right, and Napoleon Hill, he spoke about in the book that there was a power that worked on her behalf. All right, does anybody understand what he's referring to? Just unmute and share, you know, if you wanna share, you know, what's going on. And I have a funny feeling, as you're gonna unmute, I have a funny feeling, I was thinking to myself, you know why some of these people who normally on here every single day, they didn't show up today because they didn't read chapter 1. Yeah, they don't want to come to class when they do not do their homework, right? Well, that's funny. Okay, all right. Well, go ahead. Anyone wants to say what power was working in that moment, right? What power was working along with the child's persistence and insistence that she was going to get the 50 cents her mother needed for whatever reason, what reason that was. What power was he referring to? And he spoke about a salesman. Cindy, if you're ready to speak about a salesman, which is Darby, which was actually there. And Darby was the one who had the experience of the 3 feet from gold, where, you know, they were digging for gold, and he gave up. And when he gave up and sold off the mine that the gold was in, because he believed there was no more gold in there, you know, they were making a lot of money at first and things were going well, but then all of a sudden they couldn't find any more gold, and they dug, still didn't find any. And then they went away and sold the gold to a junkyard man. And the junkyard man actually was what Raul referred to about wise counsel. He went and got wise counsel to come now and give him, you know, somebody who studied geology. And the gentleman said there was a fault line that they didn't realize was there, because all mines have a fault line. And they dug 3 more feet, according to what the geologist had said, and they found gold. And the junkyard man, was able to take out millions. So Darby regretted giving up 3 feet from gold. So the giving up is one, but there's another thing that comes to our aid when we're not going to give up, right? That's first thing, we're not going to give up. And the second thing that comes to our aid, when we be consistent and persistent and insistent, there's something that comes to our aid, that comes to help us to change things into our favor. Okay? Go ahead for me, Cindy.
Well, she made a decision that she's not leaving without that money. So, you know, like fate took her over, and she decides, say, you know, no matter what, she's gonna go back with the 50 cents for her mommy. You get me? So in that case, I would say, you know, she used his no and turn it into a yes.
Use the insistence. So great, thank you for that, Cindy. So Darby went on to become a salesman in insurance that earned over $1 million back in the what was that, the 20s, the 30s, right? And that was very rare at the time to sell insurance and earn over $1 million in income. Very rare at that time. It's rare today, but you can just imagine how rare that was back then. And in addition to that, what is very clear and what Darby picked up is that if you stay, if you decide that you're not going to quit, right? Then whatever it is that you're trying to achieve will be achieved. That's one. The other thing too is that by being consistent, persistent, and insistent in the direction of your goal, there is a power that now comes to your aid, which is where faith comes in, which is where creator steps in, which is where you start to harness the power of what we call the universe to be able to start to play a part, ladies and gentlemen, in bringing together things that you on your own could never do. You know, for example, you know, I as I shared with you, I've now been selected to be a part of the advisory council, right, inside of the company, right? I've been selected to be one of them. Now, what I couldn't do that, right? There's no way I could have done that on my own. But by being consistent, persistent, and insistent, then that now is what helped to result in that outcome. Okay? So the process of being consistent, persistent, and insistent in a particular direction, because here's the great thing about this ascent. Okay? What it does is that it opens up the doorway for us to work to be able to build something really massive. But it just looks like, to some people on the outside, you're lucky, you know, they didn't see all of the challenges and the difficulties that one had to go through unless you were here during the journey to see all of the various things that had to be overcome before that particular reward was given. And that is just the beginning. You know, that's not even what's really going to happen as we stay committed throughout the journey. So the whole idea, guys, is knowing first what it is that you want. Welcome, Robert. Robert is now the first one on here. What happened today, Robert? You're muted, Robert. You're muted. I don't know if you're having connection problems over there in Denver, Colorado, but we're having an amazing discussion. It's recorded, so hopefully you get to watch it later.
No, I was saying, I'm sorry for being late, but I just got tied up and I couldn't get out of it, and that's what it is.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
That's cool, Robert. Right. So with that, into chapter 1. Hopefully you got to read chapter 1 in Think and Grow Rich, so that we you know, we're moving together, because Monday is chapter 2, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday chapter 3, Friday chapter 4, and the following week. So by 5 weeks from now, we'd have exhausted this book, and I know it's going to enrich all of us who participate. So I want to encourage you to identify other people who can come into this conversation with us, because iron sharpeneth iron. So we get to rub on one another. And when you hear someone else's perspective, what they picked out of a chapter, then it's going to help us, because you're hearing from what, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, I didn't think about that. And it's going to help us. The study group is going to be extremely powerful for those who participate in the full thing. And then for the year, as we digest different books over the next year, it's going to add so much value to our lives. And it's going to allow us to be able to achieve our goals and what it is that we want much faster. And it's interesting that what we want came at the beginning of the book, as opposed to somewhere towards the middle or the end. What do you want needs to be up front. All right. So with that story of Darby going on to earn $1 million in selling insurance, it came from, one, having quit and lost millions. He experienced that, very painful, because 3 feet from goal, and he would have made millions upon millions if he just stayed and continued the journey, but he quit. The second thing is that he saw the young lady, and he was there when it happened, when he saw the young lady conquer a black child, conquer a white master. And literally, the white master sat down for 10 minutes after trying to figure out what just happened. And there's a power that comes to our aid, ladies and gentlemen, when you're being, you remember that the young lady stepped forward. She didn't pull back when he was coming. because if she pulled back, it meant that she would have been afraid. Now, to step forward when the gentleman was approaching her with the wood, that's faith. That's faith. That's believing that, hey, you know what? Even if you physically hurt my body, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm not leaving here without this 50 cents. And because of that insistence and persistence, it broke open the possibility of her being able to get the 50 cents and be on her way. So that is a powerful lesson in two ways. One, don't quit, right? Don't quit, but you have to keep moving in the direction of what it is that you want. Some people who are in an opportunity like Xtreamfx Global Academy right now, being registered and having a membership doesn't mean you haven't quit. Being active and engaged and keep digging, keep talking, keep calling, keep prospecting, that's when you know if you're actively engaged. That's when you have not given up, because you could passively give up, meaning you're registered, you're there, but you're passively giving up. And you're going to see a lot of individuals like that in our organization. They're passively giving up. They don't want to say that they've given up, but they're passively giving up. Right? So really powerful chapter. And we got a lot of great things here. Don't quit, stay determined. Okay, the young lady, stay determined. The power of thought that Ross spoke about, the idea that everything begins with an idea, everything that we've ever accomplished, the importance of wise counsel. So whenever you run into a difficulty or a challenge, it's important to surround yourself with people who are going to be able to give you guidance, or you go and seek out expert guidance if you're found yourself not making progress. If you're we're seeking to grow our Xtreamfx family. So if you feel stuck, you feel like you're not making progress, you feel like you're not getting your goals accomplished in the time frame that you would desire for them to be accomplished in, get connected with someone who's going to guide you along the way. Then we also identified, of course, making that decision, what it is that you want, making a clear decision about what you want. And then we talked about the things that we wanted, which is, things like money to do whatever is important to us, having time freedom, being financially free, being free to be able to do whatever one wants to do. And then Ross spoke about having that total freedom, where you have spiritual freedom, you have a physical healthy body, you have great relationships around you, you have money to do what's important to you, and you'll be able to help a lot of other people to achieve this as well. So any comments about that? Any comments about that? Any questions from anybody who wants to jump in about our chapter 1 of Think and Grow Rich? All right, because we're pretty much at the end of our 1 hour. We're almost at the end. But anybody wants to jump in before we go ahead and start wrapping up? I'm gonna pick a name if nobody jumps in. Right, leaders always just jump in, right? Leaders have a way to just jump right in without being even asked, right? But go ahead and anybody just jump on it. Just unmute yourself and just share. If not, I'm gonna call on somebody. Just jump on in and share something, anything that's on your heart, anything that's bubbling up in your mind about the idea of chapter 1, or what it is that, winners never quit, quitters never win, right? A famous statement that came through this book. But anybody else? I'm waiting. All right, let me call on Annette James. Come on, give me something. What it is that, you garnered from today or from the book, or what could you add to the conversation? Okay.
Just that with persistence, determination, we can accomplish our goals, whatever we set for ourselves.
Awesome.
And the whole idea of not giving up, not quitting, no matter how it may seem, how impossible it may seem, or no matter what comes in our way, just don't give up. Continue to strive for that goal, because we can attain it in the end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Let me jump to the other Annette from Trinidad and Tobago. What did you gather today?
Well, you have to be persistent. You have to be persistent and follow your goals. Because, you know, you say we have to set goals and work towards what we want to be financially free, to do whatever we want.
Nice, nice. I'm jumping over to you, Scholar. I know you're at work. Are you able to unmute right now? If not, we'll go to Collins. All right, we'll jump over to Raw. Are you able to unmute, Raw? I'll jump to Cindy. And then Robert, I know you didn't get to participate today, so we'll put you on any pressure to talk about anything. But Cindy or Raw, any of you want to go ahead and go ahead, Cindy?
Say again, Dr. B.
Yeah, what did you gather from today? You know, what statements you want to contribute at this point?
Yes, what I can add to what's been said is that whatever you want, you just have to set your mind to it. And once you can think about it and you know, be confident and persistent, you will get it no matter what.
Exactly. So I think we got a lot of nuggets out of chapter 1. I'm looking forward to chapter 2. Chapter 2 looks at a desire and the role of desire in the accomplishment of our dreams and goals. You know, one of the other things that a thing that jumped out of the book at me as we wrap up and close off for this session is that we have to become money conscious. Right? Money is just a medium that we use to facilitate doing things. But what it really refers to, in my opinion or my perspective, is that we have to raise our vibration. We have to have a high level of frequency because our frequency is our currency. So what it is that Napoleon Hill is referring to me, when he speaks about being money conscious as opposed to being poverty conscious. People are either poverty conscious or money conscious. Money conscious is, okay, you know, you have to have a desire to have this or that, or, you know, you have to have a desire for these things. And oftentimes, sometimes we feel bad that we're desiring things that are high in value or high in price sometimes because of certain mistaken ways of being taught and growing up in our culture. And not understanding that it's important to desire a beautiful lifestyle. You know, you have to have desires. You have to have desires for them to become real and tangible and manifest. So becoming money conscious, which really means success conscious, which really means that you're going to have a heightened awareness or an expanded awareness, I would say, at a high frequency. We have to have a high frequency. We have to have a high vibration. And we're going to go over some of the practices that we need to do to be able to mature to a space and a place where our frequency is very high. And when our frequency is very high, what happens is that the people that start to surround us are going to be also have a high frequency. It would allow for you to be able to achieve your goals and your dreams. And, you know, some of that is going to happen really quickly relative to what you think would normally have been. Because one of the things that he did say in that chapter is that when riches come, they come so fast, you're gonna wonder where they were all this time, right? It comes so rapid and so quickly because it's about getting into that frequency. And once we understand that what we really need to be doing is to be working on our mental state so that we can get into that frequency and stay there, not just go up into a high vibe and feel good and feel nice, and then we'll back down into the dumps again, and we'll go up and we back down, and we'll go up and we back down. That's not going to allow for your frequency to be sustainable. So we have to go through this process to be able to understand, okay, what are some of the things we can do to arrive at this higher vibration, to be able to be in this higher vibration, and what are we going to be able to do to stay there so that we're not vacillating, we're not down, up, down, up. Because when you're down, up, it's like a roller coaster and you eventually get thrown off. So what we have to do is to really go through step by step over the next 5 weeks, where I've digested this, and continue. We have to continue. We have to continue to pour into one another. We have to continue to develop ourselves. if we're going to have the outcome that we're looking for. It's not a one thing you hear and then everything just changes. It's a consistent, persistent journey of developing ourselves over a period of time and the continuous releasing of gifts, talents, and capacities. So guys, I really want to thank you all for showing up. Really appreciate you all for being here. Sunday we have a session, and which I'll do, as I do that every Sunday as well, a conversation just to help us to elevate ourselves more and more and more. And then Monday through Friday, we go into more of a alignment with what we need to do as a team to build our business successfully and to make sure that each of us can achieve our dreams and our goals and aspirations using this Xtreamfx business model. And this conversation is going to help us to really expand. So thank you very much for reading the chapter. Scola and Annette from Trinidad versus Annette from Jamaica. I will send you the book, and you need to download Adobe Acrobat from your Play Store to be able to download the book. So at this point, we can unmute yourselves, guys. Collins, you wanted to say something before we bless each other?
Yes, Doctor.
Go ahead, Collins.
Today's topic has become so helpful, I must say, because actually I'm in a situation where I'm almost giving up a dream which I've set aside time for a very long time, indeed, trying to make it happen. And by now I was very close, to be honest, very, very close to making it, or rather turning the dream into a reality. But I had a partner who withdrew herself from the partnership, and now I'm completely stuck. That means the message that so far we've discussed and tells me that I should keep on and I should strive, I should hold on, and then in the end, success will bring itself to service. Thank you, Doctor.
Absolutely, Collins. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's unmute ourselves and bless each other. All right, as we jump off of here, we're first class on Think and Grow Rich. Monday, we're going to do the second chapter. And man, as we grow together, this is going to be amazing. Bring some people along with you. All right, you come alone, you'll learn a lot. You bring a group of people, you'll earn a lot. Remember that. Come alone, you'll learn a lot. Bring other people, you will earn a lot. All right. So seek to see who you can muscle. Say, come guys, let's do this together. All right, let's unmute and bless each other and we bounce over here. So let's find 5 names that you could say, I bless you and your life is magnificent. It would be great if you unmuted yourself and did it. I bless you, Annette, and your life is magnificent. I bless you, Annette James, and your life is magnificent. I bless you,
I bless you, Robert, and your life is magnificent. I bless you, Colin, and your life is magnificent.
And your life is magnificent. I bless you, Scola, your life is magnificent. I bless you, Raul, your life is magnificent. I bless you, Dean, your life is
magnificent.
I bless you, Annette, and your life will be a
And your man life will be magnificent.